This is really an exciting day for me. You're going to want to stick around for this interview I do with Roberto Clemente Jr. and David Altrogge, the director of the new Clemente movie that's about to come out on the History Channel next week. I'm going to show you a clip that's a preview for the new movie, and then we're going to get to the interview next.
Pittsburgh, they call him the Great One.
Number 21, Roberto Clemente.
He was so unmistakable.
Did he know he looked that cool?
How did he do that?
Clemente set the bar for Latino players. You can not only be a good player, you have to be a great person off the field as well.
He wanted to represent not only our people, but every person out there that was suffering injustice.
Hearing Roberto Clemente speak in Spanish, my dad cried. He's speaking to me.
The Pirates in a World Series for the first time in 11 years.
The deck appeared to be stacked once again against the Pirates in '71.
He wanted that World Series, not for him alone, but for his teammates in the city of Pittsburgh.
That's really the signature performance of his career.
He remains a sort of paragon of what the best of us can be.
Clemente, a history documentary event. Premieres September 23rd at 8. Part of History Honors 250, only on the History Channel.
So I've seen that about, I don't know, 10 or so times now. The hair on my arm still sticks up. That's an awesome video you guys put together. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So the one thing I'm going to say to my audience today is these guys have done a couple interviews now. I want this to be the most watched interview they do. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to share this. I don't normally ask my audience for much, but if you guys could share this interview, I'd really appreciate it. So first, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. It's really an honor, and I'm humbled that you guys were willing to do this. So thank you, guys.
Anytime, man. As long as you're spreading the gospel, if you will, of sharing the story, and it's something that we're very excited about.
Yeah, right. And I am doing that, and I did watch the movie with my wife. She's not a big documentary fan, and she really enjoyed it. So I want to tell you that.
Great.
Yeah, so it's a great job, guys.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed the movie. Yeah. What kind of feedback have you guys been getting so far?
I mean, people are crying, people are laughing. I mean, it's such a great just experience to watch the film with people. You know, we've been getting emails from all across the country, people who've seen it in theaters, just talking about how deeply moved they are. From Clemente fans who know the story, there's stuff they've never heard. And then of course people who don't know the story who are just blown away by what a remarkable person Roberto Clemente was.
That's really cool. So I was at the Pirates game on Monday. Here's my pin to prove it.
Oh wow.
Nice.
So I want to talk. We're going to get to the movie here in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about Roberto Clemente III. He threw out the first pitch at the game, which is Mr. Clemente's son. So is RC3? Is he going to follow in Grandpa's footsteps?
All I can tell you, Theo, is that he has the tools. He has. I mean, everything he does, it reminds me of that. And people see him running and playing, and they're in awe. Who's that kid? Without even knowing who he is at first. Yeah. And they say, "Oh, no wonder." I mean, he has. He's a player, definitely. He's if he wants to go play and dedicates and sacrifices, and does the right thing, he can definitely make it.
That is cool. That's awesome. I can't wait to watch him grow up and see him out there on the field one day. That's really, really cool. So, the first question I want to ask you guys, and this is more of a spicy topic, maybe it can go viral. What's you guys' opinion on MLB with Clemente's number? Why hasn't MLB retired his number yet? It's for either of you guys.
I'll give the floor to Roberto.
Why? I mean, obviously there's I can't answer that question. The why. I know that the why it should be. Obviously, it's I think the impact that he had and still has in the game of baseball, but even beyond, connecting the communities, the actual human beings that are fans. Um, he means more than baseball, and I think that that should count as a great qualifier to be able to have his number retired.
I agree. I agree. Let's
Yeah.
if anybody out there has any pull, we need to push for that. It needs to be retired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Roberto, you said you said at one of the screenings that or sorry, it was your brother Luis was saying your mom was always saying it's got to be the fans who push for it, and so I know there've been various movements in the past, but I think now is the time for the fans to push for Retire 21.
Yes. So let's switch gears a little bit to go into the movie a little bit. So David, the question for you is how long did it take to get this movie put together, and what were some of your biggest obstacles?
Sorry, I'm waving at my neighbor. I'm in my car because my house is very loud. So, and I just realized we're live. Theo, this was a bit of an odyssey, like any independent film. We worked, my team and I worked on it for 6 years.
Wow.
We filmed our first interview, which was Manny Sanguine in 2019.
Wow.
And June of 2019, and here we are, September. The film was released in theaters on September 12th. So over 6 years. And I mean, there's a lot of obstacles and challenges to telling a story like this. I think the first and foremost is how do you capture a life as big and full as Roberto Clemente? How do you capture who he was on the field? How do you capture who he was off the field? And then, I think also just making sure that, we had the blessing and involvement of Roberto Jr. and his brothers. I mean, that was so important. And I think before I started work on this film, I didn't know Roberto. So I think understandably, when I first started calling him, he was a little bit like, who's this guy who keeps calling me and wants to make a documentary? Like, so, like, I think like it just took Roberto and I need to get to know each other, and I need to get to know his brother Luis, because obviously they're safeguarding their father's legacy. And I think they wanted to make sure that my team was up to the task and was coming at it from the right angle.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey getting to know Roberto, getting to know his brother Luis. We got to interview his mom, Roberto's mom, the last interview with Roberto's mom, the last time she was in Pittsburgh. Dwayne Reeder at the Clemente Museum, who's one of the executive producers, he made that happen. So just like, I mean, so many incredible opportunities to get to know Roberto's family and get to know his sons, and I just feel really lucky that I got to tell this story. Sorry, waving at another neighbor. This
No,
is why
that's
you don't
fine.
talk to the car.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't believe it took 6 years. I have a question for Mr. Clemente. The movie does a great job talking about how your father grew up, and Monty Irvin was one of his players that he looked up to. He got a glove as a child, and how Manny Sanguine was a player that he was close friends with later in his career. Right. My question to you is, what other MLB player or even a player that was just from Puerto Rico had an impact on your father that maybe didn't get to be put in the movie?
There were, I mean, many players that he watched growing up. You know, like I said in the documentary, I mean, he used to climb up a tree and go look into the field and watch the Negro Leaguers play in Sixto Escobar Stadium, and I can imagine. I mean, I look back, I start thinking about it. I'm like, Dad climbing up a tree and looking down and watching the game, and watching Monty Irvin in right field and kind of talking to him, and
Wow.
pretty cool stuff. But he was he was a study of the game, and all those guys that went before him, he respected them all. He became a fan of the game, but he became a one of those guys that put his head down and worked, sacrificed, and everything that he did. I mean, his baseball IQ was so high,
Yeah.
but he worked on it and it made it look easy in many ways. But he worked so hard to get there to that level, making sure that he didn't leave anything behind in terms of how to be successful, because he was representing Puerto Rico, his family, and all the minority people that was suffering injustice at the time, and he put that upon himself. So he made sure that he was going to be successful one way or another. He did that very well.
Yeah,
Roberto,
absolutely.
what did your dad do in the off season to stay in shape? I mean, obviously he played winter ball. Would he exercise at the house? I didn't even ask you that when I interviewed you.
So he would do I mean, some dumbbell stuff. He would go to the beach. He would run. He would. I mean, he would train. He would
That's
actually
cool.
all year round. I mean, his regimen was always there. And
Yeah.
obviously, by the time he got to spring training, because he was playing winter ball, he was in mid-season form. So that
Yeah.
kind of helped him. But it was a lot of baseball. He played a lot of
Yeah.
baseball. So, um, it's pretty interesting that the mentality today is like, don't play anything after
Yeah.
the season's over, because you might get hurt, or you will get tired, or so forth. Those guys, position players, pitchers were pitching not only all the innings in the major leagues, they pitch even more innings down in winter ball, and still, pitch. Like guys like Marichal he pitched, complete games, just about every complete game you can think of, and then he will complete games down in Dominican Republic as well.
That's crazy.
So those guys were amazing. Imagine if they were resting for the next season.
Yeah. The one player that comes to mind that I don't think it was mentioned much in the documentary, other than the fact they played together, was Willie Mays. Now Willie Mays and him played together for the Crabbers, which was mentioned. And then at the end of Willie Mays' career, when Clemente got the 3,000 hit against the Mets, there's great photos of them hugging in the dugout. I guess my point about Willie Mays is Willie Mays later in life did an interview with I think it was Bob Costas or something like that, and he said the best player he ever saw play was Clemente. So there was such a big respect between Mays and Clemente, in my opinion. Now, was that relationship also off the field? Did they hang out sometimes? Did they see each other outside of baseball, or was it just an on the field type of relationship?
No, I mean, they obviously they spent time in winter ball. They became friends.
Okay.
But when you're a rival in major leagues, when they cross paths, it was one of those things that they will play against each other, they will say hellos, and they will continue going with their teammates elsewhere. So, that type of a relay. It's not like today that you have cell phones, you can call each other, and that would have been the case, obviously, but they didn't have those at the time.
Okay.
It was cool. One of the things that's cool, and I think one of my favorite parts of the film, because Theo, I'm not a baseball guy. I'm more interested by who he was off the field, and I think for me, what's so cool is that Roberto Clemente's friends weren't primarily fellow athletes, weren't superstars, weren't famous people. They were just like these ordinary people. We get to talk to some of these ordinary people he met over the course of his career, and they were just like, very normal people who became just dear friends of the family and Roberto. And I don't know, I just think that's so cool that those were the people that Roberto was drawn to. Just like oftentimes people who were marginalized or on the fringes of society or sort of outsiders. I mean, that's just, to me, so beautiful, especially in this age of celebrity, in this age that we live in of influencers and all this stuff, that Roberto was like, he wasn't about that. He was about finding real people who had similar values to him. And it's just such a cool aspect of who he was.
That is really cool. I like that part. I like that part of the movie, especially the time that the girl had her dad take him to the airport, and then they became friends. And I know I know Roberto's security guard and driver was a mailman. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to your point, like he was just surrounded by people that weren't celebrities. They were just regular people. And
Yeah.
the next thing I wanted to ask Mr. Clemente about was he shared an awesome story about the time Bob Gibson was talking trash and how Roberto responded. And I'm sure there were some other stories you shared, and they just didn't make the movie. Could you maybe tell me one more story, either on the field or off the field, about your father that my audience would really like to hear?
I mean, obviously, you opened the door to dirt. I call it dirt. That was very fiery. He was very passionate, and just as humble and as good heart, and how he cared for people. He cared for his teammates, and to win games and to win championships. So when it came to competition, I mean, he was all over it. And it didn't matter how big the person was in front of him. If he needed to fight, that's what he would do. So he got into a scuffle. I was talking about this earlier today with the Baltimore Orioles, actually, with a big Boog Powell.
Oh wow!
That was a wall.
Oh, man.
That was a double fridge. I mean, the guy was huge. Humongous. A
Yeah.
wall. And that was only 5'10". He was not a tall, but he went after Book. And I mean, that's how fiery he was. He didn't matter how the size. He had a big heart.
Roberto, I heard Roberto, and we weren't able to find this. We just kind of ran out of time, but I heard that your dad, while playing winter ball, at one point punched an umpire. Like he got into a fight. Now I don't know if you've heard that, Roberto, or if that's just lore, but I heard that while playing winter ball as a young man, he punched out an umpire.
Listen, I would not put that past him in terms of And in Puerto Rico, I know because I wanted to punch quite a few of them. But he was and those as I was telling the story about Gibson, for example, and before the games, he had already in his head the scouting report, so he knew the pitcher. If he was fooled with a pitch in a prior game, for example, he would even make it even look even worse by acting that he was truly fooled. So the pitcher will be more confident to throw that pitch at a very convenient account later on, and he will be waiting for that pitch because he already set them up for that. Okay, so that was his mentality. He was ahead of the game in many ways. He was a seam reader. He already knew he will be reading the seams of the baseball. He will be in front of the mirror and he will be stretching. Jose Pagan, the same guy that he told him that he was going to kill Bob Gibson. So Jose Pagan gets into the ballpark one day early and he hears out of the bathroom. So he goes and he peeks in to see what's going on. And Dad is in front of the mirror, just no shirt, his underwear, like this, and he just, and he goes, "What are you doing?" Dad was like, "Do you know who's pitching today?" He was stretching because he knew Bob Gibson was pitching that day, and Bob was so he was actually already stretching the muscles and going through every pitch and every at bat and how he pitches to him. Already training how he's going to face Bob Gibson.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So one thing that was left out of the movie that I was surprised about, and I'd like to hear you guys' take on it, either of you guys. I've always, from reading about everything, I've always felt like the car accident that Clemente experienced in 1954 was one of the major reasons why he had back issues. And I don't remember the movie bringing that car accident up. Do you guys agree with that car accident being one of the reasons why, he had all the back issues, or, was that just part of it, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can speak to why it wasn't in the film. And it was just a matter of just having to have very hard conversations with the editorial team, what to include, what not to include, because obviously it's such a rich story, and there's so much that we couldn't include that was, heartbreaking, so many stories. So yeah, I mean, I think, Roberto, I'll let you speak to it with more authority than I do, but I think 100% the car accident affected his back and the pain that he had. People accused him of being a hypochondriac, but he had massive back issues.
That is actually a part of his story that, throughout his life actually connected to that car accident, because the neck, the movement, people said, well, what did that come from? Came from that accident. He was trying to find relief, trying to, align his vertebrae and his neck. While doing so, he now started visiting chiropractors throughout his career in every city that he played in, to be able to play at that level. There was no way he was going to be able to play at that level without chiropractors. He himself became a chiropractor, being able to heal people, which was actually part of his life as well, and gift. So that car accident opened up another layer of that huge and awesome life that he led.
Okay.
Yeah. My hope is that people will watch the film and then go and read. I mean, there's some great books about him. Like, really use this as a jump off point, because I mean, it's an hour and 45-minute film, and obviously you need so much more if you want to know the fullness of Clemente's life. I mean, this is just scratching the surface of the remarkable life that Clemente lived. I will say, and Roberto, you mentioned this, he healed people. Okay, so I know a lot of people will be skeptical about healing, and I would tend to be too. But I mean, I did meet a woman, and she wouldn't say it on camera. I won't say who she was. But she said, Roberto, actually, she had a massive, massive pain issues after having a baby in her back. I think it was due. It was due to complications during pregnancy. And she said Roberto aligned her spine, and she was healed. And I mean, she was crying, telling me this 50 plus years later, which is kind of crazy. You can make it that way you want. I know there's going to be skeptical people, but she was not doing it to get attention, because she wouldn't go on camera and tell the story. But she was in tears telling my team and I about that. And Roberto, I'm sure you've heard way more stories of people who.
Well, I saw it happening with my own eyes in my house. So absolutely, I saw plenty of people come through the house, knock on the door at different times at night, and that would work on them. Even the administrator from the hospital very close to our home will call him once in a while with someone that had a back issue that they were going to have surgery, and the last resort was like dad, and said, please don't let anyone know that I'm calling you, but I think the patient and room number, blah blah blah. So dad would write the number down and take mom, and mom would stand outside the door while he worked on the patient. And they didn't have any surgery the next day, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
That's crazy. We got about 8 minutes left. I got a couple more questions to ask you guys, and the main thing on my channel is I'm trying to collect every single Roberto Clemente card.
How's that going for you? How many do you have? How many are you short?
Okay, so I'm only collecting playing days. So I'm only collecting until 1973-ish. And I have about 200, and I need about 150 more.
Wow, that's awesome, Theo. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been really fun. As probably Mr. Clemente knows, some of them can get very pricey, so it takes time.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a matter of money, sometimes it's a matter of rarity. It just depends on the card.
Sure.
So I need to talk about cards a little bit, because that's my main audience, and you guys show some cards in the movie, and you touch on the point that Roberto didn't like Bob, right? And Topps tried to Americanize his name like the media did, and they put Bob on his cards, which I know that as a card collector, it's very unfortunate, right? But I still want his cards, right? So my question to Mr. Clemente is, what were his dad's thoughts on baseball cards in general? And did you guys collect them? Did you boys collect them growing up? And what'd your dad think about that, I guess?
Theo, at the time that Topps started and, signing all these players, because it was a contract. I remember signing the same contract and they give you, I think it was like $5. I think it's like $5. You sign a contract as a player for $5.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Unreal.
And I know for a fact that they were not thinking that this pieces of cardboard were this is a kids thing and collectors. And I myself, used to give them away. I trade them for, and I used to put them on the bicycles. And
do you think you ever did you ever put one of your dad's rookie cards in the bike?
I'm pretty sure that we put quite a few of them, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't even want to think about it right now.
Wow.
But yeah,
don't.
we definitely got rid of some very, very unique cards as kids because we didn't know. At that time we didn't even know what was going on with cards, and wish we would have known because we had a lot of cards around the house, a lot of them. But I can tell you that obviously Topps and the cards that the rookies and those unique cards are unbelievable. How the market is out there for Clemente, which is unbelievable. It's beautiful. Theo, I wish you luck, man. You have a pretty tough task there to complete there.
And I actually have 3 cards in front of me that I would love to ask you about. So these 3 cards right here were all bought from Hunt Auctions. Okay, this one's the most special. So this card here is the only one in Hunt Auction for this particular card, the 1966 card, which would be his MVP season. And if the label up here says it's from the Roberto Clemente collection, so it was owned by your family and possibly your father at one point. Could you tell me, like, should I feel awesome about having this card?
Yes. Okay. Theo, you know what? I'll tell you why I understand that is because like I said, Dad, it's a piece of cardboard, and the players at the time didn't think it was going to be any value to it. Yeah. It was a children's thing, but there were a lot of cards that obviously Topps will be given to players. Dad had a bunch of them around the house because Topps was giving him cards. He didn't do anything with them. They were around, and a few of those were laying around the house. Hunt, yes. I know that I was in Puerto Rico. My brothers were there, and Mom were there, and those cards went out. So you have one of those there. That one day you had, they showed. That's one of the ones from the house.
That's awesome. It wasn't my most expensive card, but it's a card I would never ever sell for any reason. It's my favorite card in my collection.
Awesome.
So that's cool. Awesome.
That's so cool. Would you trade it? Would you trade it for like a Bobby Bonilla card or like a J Ball card? Maybe would you trade
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I got in a debate with somebody. I said I wouldn't trade this for a Roberto Clemente autograph because I don't have his autograph yet, and I really want one.
Oh,
but
wow.
I said the fact that he owned a baseball card. I'm a baseball card collector, right?
Correct.
I love autographs.
Yeah.
I would love to own one. They're so rare to have a Clemente auto, but to me, I have what I collect, and he owned it. Like you can't beat that. Like
right.
I'm
so
sorry,
cool. That's so
you
cool.
just
You're
can't.
right. You're right.
So that's so cool. Thank you so much. All right. So the last question I had for Mr. Clemente was, your mom Vera was in the movie. She had some time doing interviews in the movie, and sadly passed away in 2019. What do you feel like she would think about the movie now after it came out?
She would be very, very proud of this project. This was her last interview that she gave, and David was fortunate enough to capture that last interview, and that was also a big part of why I think that this project was so special because of that.
Wow, that is really
And
cool.
so you have my son, my 7-year-old Clemente III. He got so emotional. I mean, so emotional with watching this film, that I know that his heart is in the right place because he felt everything that we're supposed to feel in while you watch this documentary.
Wow,
That's so cool.
thank
That's
you
so
for
cool.
sharing. So to wrap up, I want to let my audience know that the movie has been on limited release in movie theaters. It's out now
Yep.
in limited release,
It
right? And
yeah, it's still
and yeah,
in theaters. Yep. Yep.
and on the History Channel, it's gonna come out on the History Channel on September 23rd at 8 o'clock Eastern. Correct?
That's right. Yep. Yep.
Nope.
Yeah. So if your audience wants to learn more about the History Channel, about the theaters it's playing in, or about when we're on VOD and DVDs are available, they can go to our website, which is www.clemente.film. www.clemente.film. Sign up for the mailing list, and we're going to keep everyone up to date about all this awesome stuff.
And that the release date that came out was the 12th, which is actually 21 in reverse, which is actually 2 + 1 is 3. And you'll understand what that means when you watch the documentary.
Yes.
I had never thought of that, Roberto. That's awesome.
Peace.
That's so cool.
So I'll also put the link in the info in this video for what David just said. I'll put the link down below. Like I said, guys, I appreciate these guys taking time out. Please share this video. Please like this video. Guys, I could have talked to you for another hour, but I just thank you guys for taking time out. It's my honor to have you guys on here today.
Thank you, Theo. Thanks for having
us.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, everybody that
Theo.
watched.
Right.
We will see you on the next one.
Batting third, playing right field, number 21, Roberto Clemente.